What's up, Broncos country? Get your hearts ready, because the bombshell I have for you today is going to stir up emotions throughout the entire Denver Broncos family. We're just days away from the NFL's final roster cuts. And check this out. Our front office is analyzing potential trades even before the cuts happen. That's right, folks. Players wearing our orange and blue jersey might have their bags packed for other destinations. But hold on. Before you panic, take a deep breath, because some of these possible trades might be exactly what we need to strengthen our team even more heading into the playoffs. Well, others are going to hurt the hearts of our fan base. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to explain each case, the reasons behind these possibilities, and what this means for our 2025 season. And there's one specific situation that might surprise even the most veteran fans. Let's get straight to the point, family. The deadline for cuts is approaching on August 26th, and our front office is working behind the scenes to optimize our 53-man roster. And when I say optimize, I'm talking about strategic decisions that could define our immediate future. The first situation that needs our attention is cornerback Damari Mathis. Folks, I'm going to be straight with you. The competition in the Broncos secondary is brutal. We have Pat Certain as our absolute star, Riley Moss established, and our first draft pick, Jody Barron, who came in strong. We still have Jaquan McMillian returning, and Chris Abrams-Drain, who was our fifth pick last year, and is impressing. Mathis is in a tough spot. He has talent, nobody denies that, but the math is cruel in football. When you have 6 cornerbacks fighting for 4 or 5 spots, someone gets left out. And Reese Taylor is also getting positive attention in summer workouts. The reality is that Mathis might have more value as trade currency to strengthen other positions. Now, let's talk about a situation that might catch many people by surprise. Running back McLaughlin. After we selected R.J. Harvey in the draft, our backfield became even more competitive. We have a good problem, but it's still a problem. The issue is simple. We're unlikely to keep 4 running backs on the final roster. McLaughlin is in a delicate situation. At 24 years old, he's still playing on an undrafted player contract, while other names have more investment and development potential. It's a purely mathematical and strategic decision that could open space for reinforcements in other areas. But it doesn't stop there, Broncos country. There's more movement happening behind the scenes. The linebacker situation is also stirring. Although it hasn't been officially confirmed, there's the possibility of movements in our defense, especially considering we still have veterans available in free agency. Names like C.J. Mosley and Jawan Bentley are still without teams, and our front office always keeps an eye on opportunities. And here's what's interesting. Even some positions we consider consolidated might undergo adjustments. The process of building a competitive roster requires difficult decisions, and sometimes players who contributed in the past can become trade pieces to improve other areas. What impresses me most about this whole situation is how proactive our front office is being. Instead of simply cutting players and losing them for nothing, they're trying to turn these departures into assets to strengthen the team. This shows organizational maturity and strategic vision. Now, I'll explain the timeline so you understand the urgency of the situation. The final deadline to reduce the roster from 91 to 53 players is Tuesday, August 26th at 4 p.m. This means our front office has very little time to negotiate these possible trades. And here's an important variable. Other teams are also going through the same process. Teams that might be interested in our players are also evaluating their own rosters. It's like a big puzzle where all 32 franchises need to fit their pieces at the same time. What do you think about these possibilities, Broncos country? Do you agree that some trades might be necessary for the good of the team? Folks, if you're true Broncos country and want to stay on top of all our team's movements, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because every week I bring the most complete analyses about our Denver Broncos family. Let's dig deeper into this strategic issue, family. When we analyze these possible trades, we need to think like a general manager. Every move has to make sense not just for this season, but for the franchise's future. Taking Damari Mathis' example again, he's young, has potential, but is in a position where competition is fierce. For another team that needs depth in the secondary, he could be a valuable piece. In return, we could get reinforcements on the offensive line, which has always been a priority to better protect our quarterback. The backfield situation is even more interesting. With R.J. Harvey's arrival, our depth at the position became excellent. But carrying 4 running backs on the final roster means fewer spots for other crucial positions. It's a matter of intelligent resource distribution, and here's an important reflection. These decisions show how our organization has evolved. We're no longer making sentimental decisions. Every move is calculated, thinking about competitive impact and the team's financial sustainability. Another thing that needs to be considered is timing. Making these trades before final cuts allows players to have more time to adapt to new teams. It's an attitude that demonstrates respect for the athletes, something that has always been part of the Broncos culture. But I'll be honest with you, some of these possible departures might hurt. When you root for players, follow their evolution, it's natural to create an emotional connection. But football is a business where results speak louder than feelings. The positive side is that these movements can open opportunities for young talents who are fighting for a spot. Undrafted free agents who impressed in workouts might get chances they wouldn't have otherwise. And thinking about the upcoming season, every spot on the final roster needs to be occupied by players who will really contribute. We can't afford the luxury of carrying dead weight on a roster limited to 53 athletes. The competitiveness of the AFC West demands that we be at our best level from week 1. Raiders, Chiefs, and Chargers won't make it easy, so we need an optimized and balanced roster. Let's analyze the tactical impact of these possible changes. Broncos country. When we talk about cornerback, any change directly affects our defensive schemes. Sean Payton and his coaching staff work with specific packages that depend on each player's individual characteristics. If Mathis is traded, this could accelerate Chris Abrams-Drain's development, who showed flashes of potential last season. Sometimes a forced opportunity can be exactly what a young player needs to take the next step. In the backfield, the situation is different. Our offensive philosophy values versatility, and having 3 running backs with complementary styles might be more efficient than having 4 with similar characteristics. R.J. Harvey brings a different dimension to the attack, and his integration could enhance the entire system. One thing that catches my attention is how these decisions reflect the front office's confidence in the coaching staff's development work. When you trade experienced players to give chances to rookies, you're betting on the team's coaching ability. And we can't forget about the salary cap. Every dollar saved in one position can be reinvested in other areas. Modern football is also a game of financial mathematics, and smart teams know how to maximize resources. Looking ahead, family, these movements could define our identity for 2025. We're building a younger, more athletic team with greater growth potential. It's a bet on the future that could pay dividends already this season. The question is, are we prepared to accept some initial inconsistencies in exchange for greater potential? Young players make mistakes that veterans wouldn't, but they also make plays that veterans can no longer make. Sean Payton has enough experience to manage this transition. He knows how to balance veteran presence with youth, and these possible trades might be part of a bigger plan we can't see completely yet. What makes me confident is the consistency of the decisions. They don't seem like desperate or reactive moves. There's a clear line of reasoning behind each possibility, which demonstrates strategic planning. Folks, I'm going to give you my very direct opinion here. I believe these possible trades are necessary. Sometimes, to evolve, you need to make difficult decisions, and preferring to make intelligent trades rather than simply cutting players shows organizational maturity. Of course, we'll miss some athletes if they really leave. But in football, you can't get attached to the past. What matters is building the best possible team to compete in the present. And another thing, these movements might awaken other players on the roster. When you see teammates being traded, you understand that nobody has a guaranteed spot. This creates healthy internal competition that elevates everyone's level. What excites me most is realizing that our front office isn't afraid to make bold decisions. Mediocre teams make safe choices. Championship teams make the right choices, even when they're controversial. Denver Broncos family, I know some of these possibilities might cause mixed reactions among our fan base. It's natural to have favorite players and want to see them wearing our jersey for as long as possible, but we also have to trust the process. Our organization has undergone significant transformation in recent years. We've gone from a rebuilding phase to a real competitive mentality, and these decisions are part of that evolution. What I ask is patience and trust. Sean Payton and George Payton know what they're doing. They have access to information and analyses that we as fans don't have. Sometimes the best decisions aren't the most popular in the short term. And remember, the ultimate goal is always the same. We want to see our team fighting for the Super Bowl, and if these movements bring us closer to that goal, then they're the right movements. Thinking about what's ahead, these possible trades could pave the way for a more competitive season than many imagine. If we can transform players with little space on our roster into reinforcements for positions of need, we come out ahead. The AFC West will be brutal as always. Every detail could make the difference between getting a playoff spot or watching from home. And having an optimized roster is fundamental to sustaining the pace throughout 17 games of the regular season. What excites me most is the possibility of seeing young players take on greater responsibilities. Sometimes that's how we discover future Pro Bowlers, by giving opportunities to athletes who are waiting for their chance. And we can't forget that successful trades can improve our future draft positioning. If we can get additional picks in exchange for players who wouldn't have much space anyway, we create more assets to continue building the team. So, Broncos country, we've reached the end of another deep analysis of our family. These possible trades represent much more than simple roster movements. They show an organization that thinks strategically and isn't afraid to make difficult decisions. I know it can be hard to accept the departure of players we root for, but sometimes that's exactly what we need to take the next step. Football is a result sport, and our front office is focused on building a championship team. What impresses me most is how we're being proactive instead of reactive. Instead of simply cutting players and losing them, we're trying to transform them into assets that will strengthen other areas of the team. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these possible trades makes the most sense in your opinion? Do you think our front office is on the right track with these strategic decisions? And which position would you like to see reinforced with these possible trades? Denver Broncos family, that's all for today. Keep following all the movements because the next few days promise to be intense until the cuts deadline. And remember, regardless of who stays or goes, our passion for the Broncos remains unshakable. Leave your opinion about these possible trades in the comments. Hit that like if the content added value, share with other members of Broncos Country family, and see you in the next video with more exclusive analyses of our beloved team. Until next time, and go Broncos!